Well, this one came out of nowhere. That's right, folks. We now have a new #1 highest grossing animated film of all time,哪吒 2. It's funny because most Americans are like, huh? What's this? Did Disney make this one? No, came from China and just blew up the list. Inside Out 2, yeah, you #1, out of the way. All right, my demon friend here is now going to be taking your place. I think that's pretty well deserved. Just out the gate, I'm going to say I'm going to try and avoid spoilers because this film is worth checking out. I saw it in theaters yesterday. I loved it. Super epic. It speaks to my inner nerd. You know when you're like going for a walk or a drive and you got that epic music going and you're daydreaming along with it with your own original characters and you're like, then my character goes Super Saiyan 4 and fights the bad guy. And this climactic part of the song is when my good guy character punches the bad guy character. It's like that. I'm not even joking. The last act of this movie, the last action scene, I was internally screaming, being like, yes, this speaks to me. And for the record, because I've been seeing some like weird discourse online about like East versus West, just stop it, okay? Look at the highest grossing animated films of all time. The list is overwhelmingly, if not virtually all like Western, specifically American big companies like Disney, Paramount, and so on. I think it's good to get some new talent on the scene because like before that in the top, I think 30,哪吒 1 was the only international non-American film on that list. And now there's 2 spots with哪吒 2 being #1, and that's just insane to me. This is about getting new stories from different places. I'm kind of tired of a lot of American films. They're kind of the same old. If I have to see another Marvel film again, it'll be too soon. But seeing something about this crazy Chinese lore with their Council of Heaven, the dragons, the demons, the gods, I'm here for it. I'm loving this. And let me tell you what really started this like snowball effect as far as like Chinese animation goes. Kung Fu Panda. Kung Fu Panda came out like a long time ago. China loved it. And then the Chinese like movie makers were like, how come the greatest animated Chinese movie ever at this moment was made by Americans? And that was a little bit of a humbling moment. And ever since, they've been on this crusade to make up the difference and tell their own stories with their own characters and present their own organically created films. And I'm here for it. Okay, here we go. I'm going to try and give you some backstory about哪吒because it's a folklore thing. It's from like ancient Chinese stories. Here we go.哪吒originated from a fantasy novel by author Zhu Zhonglin and was released during the Ming Dynasty. Now, the exact dates are kind of murky for when it was like fully published, but the 100 chapters were released sometime between 1567 and 1619. He also makes an appearance,哪吒, in probably the best-known Chinese novel of all time, The Journey to the West, written by Wu Chengyin in 1592. The same novel with the Monkey King. By the way, there was a good, Monkey King movie on Netflix a few years ago. Check that out, I recommend it. Now,哪吒has been featured in over 20 movies and animated specials, but the best known of these before the 2019 movie was哪吒Conquers the Dragon King, a 60-minute animated movie released in 1979. So, kind of a while ago. That was probably the most popular version of the character in pop culture until the CGI feature film came out in 2019, which I wanted to cover back in the day. I never got around to it. I was on the fence about doing a video about Chinese animation in general, which I kind of want to do now. But since哪吒 2 came out and just shook the world to its core, I'm here talking about哪吒 1 right now. The first movie feels a lot more like they were testing the waters of how to best capture the overall style of how a DreamWorks movie is structured narratively. But the aesthetic style, deep diving on folklore, and sense of humor is notably more catered to Chinese family audiences, i.e. lots of slapstick, fart jokes, pee jokes, a Minions movie. So哪吒as a pop culture character feels more like China's version of Stitch, Bugs Bunny, or similar chaotic trickster characters, but specifically based on Chinese folklore. The first film resonated with audiences and did exceptionally well, making over $700 million during its theatrical run. it's funny looking at that list at the time where it's like Minions 2, Frozen 2, Nezha. And now it's like Nezha 2 and everybody else by orders of magnitude below Nezha 2. Like it's crazy to think that Nezha 2 might not ever be rivaled. It's just that far above with nearly $2 billion made at the box office. It's just insanity. It's in the top 10 highest grossing films of all time. That's how good it did. Now, a quick backstory on the creator of the Nezha films. Because the movies were both written and directed by the same person, Zhao Zi, which is the pen name for Yang Yu, and his nickname in Chinese is Dumpling, which is pretty cool. He is an animation director based out of Lozhu, Sichuan, China. I'm trying so hard, folks. I really am. I sat down and tried to memorize the names. I'm not Chinese, surprisingly, so I'm struggling a bit, but I'm trying. Interestingly, Yang Yu, he wanted to be a comic artist as a kid. He got his bachelor's degree in pharmacy, as both of his parents were doctors, and I guess they wanted the same for him, which is not uncommon in Asian culture. But he had trouble with getting steady employment, first working as an advertising company for a year while learning animation on the side. Unfortunately, his father died, and Yang Yu was unemployed for 6 years. Learning animation and living with his mom off her monthly retirement pension of 1,000 Chinese currency, which is about 137 United States dollars. And that was the case for 3 years, so it was a really rough time. But he later pivoted to animation, fully, after making 2 short films, See Through in 2008 and The Boss's Woman in 2013. And then, he kind of became an overnight sensation after the first Nezha film was released. He has now become China's highest grossing film director of all time from releasing 2 movies, which is honestly crazy. Good on him. What an inspirational story to never give up. And the scale of the movie kept escalating, and so did the resources they had to work with. The sequel took 5 years to produce, just like the original, and the budget quadrupled from $20 million to $80 million. The highest budget for a Chinese animated movie ever. Nezha 2 had 3 times the characters of the first film, and it really shows. When you watch this movie, oh my god, there are so many characters with particular scenes where it is overwhelming with characters, but in an epic, dynamic sense. It works. In the first act, there's a massive battle, this village with this demon army, and there's an epic moment where it just shows the demon army jumping out of the sky. It gave me chills. It was really good. They added 600 additional shots, making up 2,400 in total, compared to the original's 1,800. You ready for this? The production for this sequel had a team of over 4,000 animators working on it. All of them from China, with the shots being divided up between 138 different animation studios. The chain sequence from the third act alone took a year to complete from start to finish. When you see it, you'll get why. And then the film came out, and apparently the box office numbers were so robust that many folks in China had trouble getting tickets and asked the producers on social media to add more showtimes at theaters, with many of them being staggered apart in 5 to 10 minute intervals. Demand was so high, even midnight screenings were sold out. And this is due to the excellent timing with the release of the film during Lunar New Year. And of course, positive word-of-mouth reviews from audiences loving the movie, which gave them even a bigger box office turnout. For those who don't know, the Lunar New Year is the biggest holiday in modern China. It typically lasts for 2 weeks, and this year, the Year of the Snake, spanned from January 29th to February 12th. So everybody gets time off to travel and see their families in the country and celebrate, with many businesses being closed until the celebration has wrapped up. Having all that time off means a lot of people went to the movies and showed up in droves to make Nezha 2 the most financially successful animated film of all time. God, the Chinese domestic box office is truly something to behold. Also, 2/3 of the Chinese market for films is people between 18 to 24. It is the sweet spot between the academic stresses of childhood and the work stresses of adulthood. Now, this has changed somewhat as there has been a notable increase of job instability for Gen Z folks. So discretionary spending went down, and younger people would only go check out a movie in theaters if they heard it was worth the money to check out. Now, word of mouth over there is a really big deal. And also kind of the same case here in the States. When I went to go see the film, here in America, I was the only white boy in the audience, and the rest of the audience were Chinese. And I'm like, that checks out. That's really cool that they're showing up to watch and support this film. That's how big the word of mouth is. And by the way, when I say white, I'm like Germanic, Welsh, Irish, and British. I am mayonnaise reincarnate. Okay, enough talking about the preamble to this movie. What's it about? Okay, I don't, again, want to spoil it, but in a nutshell, you got Neja, who's this baby who was accidentally born with the demonic orb. And I'm actually trying to explain this film. It's really hard. It is so over the top. It is so all over the place, but in the best way possible. It's one of those movies, and this includes the first film, where it almost seems overwhelming at times. It's too much. But there's such a passion and sincerity and such a vision for it that you're like, yeah, there's things that are confusing, but who cares? I'm having fun. Bring on the next epic battle. So Neja, I guess I would describe him he kind of gives me a Vegeta vibe with being a little bit of an asshole, kind of a Loki vibe with being a trickster, a bit I gotta say, I love the narrative of the demigod human who spits in the eyes of the immortals. I'm here for it. Where it's you immortal gods, well, I'm a demigod, and I'm not completely immortal, but I don't care. I'm gonna make today a really bad day for you by f***ing shit up. It's the human spirit versus the indifference of the immortals. I love that. But in this movie, I'll try to explain it. Neja and his friend, Ao Bing, who's a dragon boy, are trying to... I don't even know how to really even begin. Ao Bing possesses Neja's body because Ao Bing from the first film got destroyed along with Neja, but in the process of them making their new bodies, Ao Bing's body got destroyed, and now they have to go through this council of heaven kind of thing through these trials in order to get immortality. And then there's a demon army from the dragons, but it was an accident. There's a guy named Shen, who's another god. He's got a little furry boy brother. By the way, there's a lot of furry characters in this movie, a lot. I'm talking there's a crane, there's a deer. By the way, there's really cool battle scenes with characters pulling off all these epic maneuvers. We got this one archer guy with multiple arms shooting arrows out of the back of his back with multiple, it's the final smash attack in a video game. It's how I'd explain it. There's a giant baby, old man who's kind of a god. There's multiple dragons. If you like dragons, you're gonna get your fill. And by the way, I love how Western dragons are I got a pot of gold, rah. While Eastern dragons are I'm a fucking god and I can see through space and time. I'm also shaped like a noodle. I will just end it at that. All I can really say is that this is a big, massive, epic movie. And lots of Chinese folklore, lots of Chinese gods, dragons, armies, Chinese aesthetic with their soldiers, their buildings. If you want a crash course on just Chinese culture, watch this movie. And I'm not saying exact culture this is historically accurate, but more of the same way you got knights with Europeans. You got the Great Wall surrounding this village with boats and soldiers and cool ballista and arrows. It's just cool. And I would say the story, it almost feels like this film has 4 acts at times. And it's a long film. It's over 2 hours long. And yeah, I gotta say, there are moments, I wouldn't say it drags, it almost feels overwhelming. It's so weird to be it's a 2-hour film that feels overwhelming. What the fuck, That being said, I loved it. I wouldn't say it's perfect. It could improve by cutting back a bit, just a bit, but I don't think it's that big of an issue. Again, the character designs, the animation, the expressions, the action scenes. There's so many epic moments where I'm like, my God, this scene in particular, or this scene would have taken forever to render. Like, I don't even know how you begin to even like wrap your mind around like creating this scene. It's just that big and overwhelming. But it fits like the narrative beats of the film, where it's like, it's not just big for the sake of being big. It's epic, but it's well-deserved and feels earned. I will say, like, tonally, this is like such a teenage boy epic movie. Like, oh my God, the armies are clashing, but then there's another battle with a bigger army clashing. And then me and my brother go Super Saiyan and fight the bad guy and turn into dragons and shoot lasers. It's like that, and I love it. Same thing when I watch like Triple R, the Indian film, where I'm like, yes, this is epic. It's so stupid, but I love it. And I like films like that. I would rather watch something like that than a Marvel film at this moment, where I feel like most Marvel films nowadays are just like, oh man, this is just corporate schlock. I don't care. It feels calculated and cold. Give me something that just is overwhelming with passion and energy. That's what I want. And as it stands, there will be further developments with this franchise. There's an in-between-quel spinoff called Jingxia that was released on October 1st, 2020, but it doesn't really involve Nezha as a character. And it takes place in the same universe and more fleshes out the world by focusing on I'm trying, folks. By focusing on Jingxia fighting fox demons, and seems to be geared towards an older audience. So they're building this franchise. And that film was originally going to be released during the Lunar New Year, but due to COVID, it underperformed at the box office. But hey, who cares anymore? The franchise is now cooking with gas. It is ready to go. And yeah, there's a third film after Nezha 2 that was teased at the end of the movie and is currently in development. It's gonna happen. It's definitely gonna happen. And I would be shocked if it takes years to make. I mean, it'll take years, but not like 4 or 5 years, because the momentum here is so overwhelming from Nezha 2 that I'm sure China's movie industry is going to go let's get to work. We have got some money and waves to make. Let's go. It's an absolute phenomenon for China, and I'm excited for them. I want to see more international releases. And they're out there. Just because they don't make the top 10, highest grossing animated list doesn't mean those films don't exist. With Brazil, with Chile, with Russia, with China, with India, with Australia. Those movies are there. Go look for them if you want to get something outside of Disney films, for that matter. So overall, folks, I highly recommend Nezha 2. I'm excited for it. I love it. I think it's really neat to see something of this caliber outside of Hollywood show up and shake up the system. For better or for worse. I say for better. I think Hollywood is a bit of an old, long on the tooth industry that, hey, Hollywood, maybe you should hire artists, or creator-driven movies and animated shows and get rid of AI and pay artists for original organic ideas. Because Nezha was never done with AI. Never even touched it. So hey, just giving you food for thought. Promote creator-driven movies and shows and art. That's where that money should be. But hey, folks, those are just my overall thoughts. What did you all think? Tell me down below in the comments, and I'll see you all next time.